Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I am at Apex 2025 and I'm joined by Mark Besser from Symphony AI. Mark, thanks for talking to me. You've just done the panel inside. I've been kind of watching the progress of AI in the industry and I think it's exciting, there's lots of potential, but I'm really curious what the EMS leaders think it can do for them, what problem they're looking to use it to solve, and what level of enthusiasm they have.
Well, I think the level of enthusiasm is high.
Yeah.
I think as vendors in the marketplace and as marketers, we've created an awful lot of hype and a lot of buzz around AI, and along with that, a lot of confusion to go with it.
Yeah.
I also think, if I back up a second, just the terminology of AI, right? If we spin back to the 1980s and we remember the Terminator movies, right?
Yeah.
AI was sentient beings that were able to think on their own as computers, right? Well,
Skynet.
AI today, Skynet. AI today is really just hyperscale compute power, and smart engineers have done a lot of work to change the front end of that compute power to make it much more approachable for all of us, right? So now back to your question. I think there's enthusiasm, there's excitement, there's curiosity, there's fear, there's paralyzation, and I think in general everybody's worried of, if I invest my time, energy, and money into this, one, what do I actually point it at, and two, will it actually generate some results? So a lot of discussion around using it to shorten the cycles in the RFQ process. But I don't think anybody's really gotten to the point of, how do I apply it to my manufacturing processes themselves? Right?
We see it in a few areas in process. When you think of like connecting multiple inspection machines and using that data to maybe do some root cause analysis, when you look at maybe some planning around the placement machine and families and components. What I'm curious there is that you end up with these multiple AIs on the factory floor, and how do you bring them together? Is that kind of that agentic AI role that kind of interrogates multiple AIs? How do you see that future kind of weaving all these options together?
Yeah, that's an interesting question as well. Today, AI predominantly is generally singular focused at an individual problem, and the language models that support solving that problem were purpose built to actually solve those. Unlike chat GPTs of the world, where I can go ask a question from who's going to be the next president to who was the best baseball player ever, right? So where I think the evolution is going to start to happen now is we're going to move to multimodal models, and the data sets are going to support a higher level of analysis than tell me if my machine is running properly, or tell me if I have it sequenced properly based on how I've got it set up in my plant. I don't think we're that far away from now combining machine data with product data, with customer data, with ERP data, right? And cost data and finance data and labor data all into the model to say, what was the ramifications or the implications of that decision that I just made? Right?
So when you talk to an individual EMS leader and they're like, okay, we've got a bunch of business processes, maybe some manufacturing processes that we feel could be automated more. What do you tell them? Is it to find something that's narrowly focused that they can see an ROI on? Is it something that they can do short term, or do they have to build a huge long-term plan? Because it feels like those holistic ideas are what paralyzed us with the whole industry 4.0 revolution.
Yeah, and I think you're poking a little bit at what are some of the challenges in contract manufacturing in general, right? I don't have high volume replication that I'm looking for fine tuning, right? Many times I'm
high mix.
right? Low volume, medium volume, high mix.
Yeah. So how can AI help me with changeover time or accelerate those processes? So, NPI, that kind of thing.
So I think that's where it's actually going to apply itself, which is providing some insights and some analysis around where do I lose time in my manufacturing process? Because for the contract manufacturers, time is killer. Time is labor, and that's where my cost is, right? Machine time is overhead that I can spread. Labor is I'm going to have to pull it in for the products that I'm actually trying to make.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Symphony AI, tell me a bit about how you support the industry and the problems that you solve.
So Symphony started as how do we democratize AI across a whole number of industries?
Okay.
Whether that's retail, CPG, media, telecom, right? I happen to be in the industrial division, so how do we apply it to manufacturing? Inside the Symphony portfolio, then, is a whole series of solutions that really start with data acquisition. So where does my data even live inside my environment? To how do I get to it? How do I get it in the right language? How do I get it in the right context? To a full MES solution, right? To the analytics and reporting and time dashboards, and then bridge all of that with AI. That's kind of my explanation is AI in that environment is really how do I always look to make tomorrow or my next task better than the one I just completed, right? So give me those watch what I'm doing and then give me those recommendations.
And when you look at it in that way, do you think of it as being much more co-pilot? Do you think, and some people talk about this idea of a AI sandwich where you've got the smart person at the beginning, you've got the AI doing all that hard donkey work with respect to consuming this huge amount of data, and then you've got someone on the other end taking those recommendations and figuring out what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to now kind of loop all the way back to our definition of AI originally, right? For a lot of these guys, I'm not sure they really need AI. They need help. Right? Am I capturing the right data points? Do I have it in the right context? And can I use that in a way that's actually meaningful to improve my operations? For most of those problems, I'm not sure I need an AI to do that. Now, when we start getting to scale, absolutely. Right? So, there's plenty of data that exists in a spreadsheet. I don't need AI to help me with the spreadsheet, but I do probably need to tie that spreadsheet back to what else is happening inside my environment, kind of back to my time loss problem. Right? Where are my inefficiencies inside my process and how can I collapse those?
And maybe if that spreadsheet's got huge and cumbersome, maybe your AI is there to help you interrogate that in a sensible way. So sometimes you don't have to. So I think there are interesting opportunities there. Mark, thanks for talking to me. Thanks for being on the panel today, and we'll talk again soon.